who wants to join, obviously that's not going to work. You can set the radius of your search and you can see how far that unit is from that zip code. Back to your point of a district that doesn't have any units. You know, if there's a parent going, man, I really wish little Jimmy could be a scout, let's take a look at this. Oh, nearest unit is 50 miles away. I wonder what it would take to do a unit. So, and that is the pin. Very first thing you should do is get that pin going. Just so you guys know, before I hand it back to Neil, the Apply Now button, if you follow that, will take you to 2 possible applications, one for youth, one for adults, because you can take applications for both over this, and you should allow that.
So you want to go to the website
Sure.
material? Let's go ahead.
Okay, so how a website works. 4 main parts of it. First off, you're going to buy the website name, site name.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were going to do a follow-up for the thing. Just one real quick point.
There may be units that don't have a COR or a committee chair or even a scoutmaster who would have a lot of technical skills.
Glad you finished that up, because every unit should have those.
Yes, no, you should have those 3, but they may not have technical skills. There is functionality in my.scouting.org to select a Key 3 delegate. So if you have someone in your unit who isn't a Key 3, but they do have mad technical skills, that's a technical term,
And as an adult.
It is.
and is an adult, you can designate them as a delegate to help you with this.
Yeah, don't let the tenderfoot do this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so website. Okay.
Just to say, there is a way for you to get a QR code. Go to my.scouting.org, go to Application Manager, and it's right there.
Okay, they moved it. They keep moving it. I had to generate my own. It is on the pin screen, yeah, once you get past that point. Okay, so first step, you want to go to what's called a registrar. Okay? You haven't dealt with one of these since college, right? They do basically the same thing. They take your money and they give you a piece of paper that says you own a name. This name is going to be your domain name. Choose it wisely. I won't tell you, I won't go into great detail on how to do that. From there, you're going to find a host. A lot of registrars double as a host. Not all, but most. Okay? Choose wisely. Look at some reviews. See if there's one that offers free without throwing too many ads on there. The host is where you're actually going to house the site itself. Okay? The host serves up the site to end users. End users see it in their browser. Greatly simplified, this is how every website on the web works, these 4 steps. There's extra little details, but you guys aren't getting a degree in this, and I don't see any web developers here, so I think I'm going to get away with only saying those points. Video game developer, not web developer.
I approve this message.
Oh, web developer?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay, and reminder, these will all be available online as well, and if needs be, we can email you a slide deck if you need. Okay, so the pros of having a website. And where am I? I'm going to cover main ones here. You can make it look however you want. Okay? If you don't want it to look like Facebook, you don't have to make it look like Facebook. My old Scout site's design looked like the DSA design because I downloaded the template, and it looks just like it. It looked totally official and neat and everything. It looks so cool. One site can host a multitude of needs. You want to have a private section, have a private section. You want to have a chat section, have a chat section. Calendar, great, put a calendar in there. You want to have a historical blog. By the way, troop historian is a position. They can put blog entries in there. You know, that's something that you can do. A site is only limited by your time, your expertise, your level of commitment, including money, and what you can imagine. Okay? Finally, it's a source of pride for a unit. Look how sweet we look. Head on over to troopsuchandsuch.org, where you can learn how you can do these awesome things. It makes us look really polished.
So I know, I'm gonna say the words, but it's, Scout Book, right? Does Scout Book integrate with anything like a calendar? I was thinking like,
Scoutbook's calendar can. Scoutbook has a calendar function which you should use.
I love stuff.
Everyone's Scoutbook,
I do too.
great. You can actually do an ICS file, which is called a calendar feed file, and from there, you can export that live file to anywhere. I personally have it synced up to my Google Calendar. When I was running a full website, I had it synced into that. So any update I did to Scoutbook automatically did that. The issue you're going to run into comes back to privacy. If there are things happening in Scoutbook that you don't feel like broadcasting, come to Jimmy's house, this address, this time, we're having a sleepover. Maybe that's not public information.
What was the file called?
It's an ICS file, okay? Okay, cons of a website. As opposed to making it look however you want, it's on you to make it look however you want. I cannot stress this enough, how much time a website will take. It's why webmaster is a full-time position within the committee or troop. It requires constant upkeep. Okay? How he said that it didn't have a social media account, or if it didn't have an up-to-date one, doubly so for websites. If you have a 100-year-old troop back there, I have a 100-year-old troop. If you have a 30-year-old website, I'm going to assume it's dead, that there's no one there in the troop. Okay? It is an expense for the unit. Okay? It is a big expense that needs to be taken on. Now, if you're doing this out of pocket for your unit, awesome, that's great. More kudos to you. What happens when you're gone? Okay? If you are signing your unit up for an ongoing expense, that's something that the committee should decide on. And then they should assign someone to do it. Now, real fast before I go into this next slide, I taught this lesson at University of Scouting 2018, 2019. And I originally said you should definitely get a website. You should build out a website, you should make it look all swank, you should put on a really cool slogan, put pictures up everywhere. There's absolutely no reason why you should ever rely on social media alone. But then something kind of big happened. Any takers? The LDS Church left in terms of its charter. It dropped its charter. And suddenly, the idea of a scout unit being ever present, no matter where you were in Utah, there's a scout unit within throwing distance. You can take it for granted. It's not for granted anymore. So when I last did this lesson, I suggested people do websites to help differentiate yourself from Joe Schmo's ward down the street. Right? That's not the case anymore. Now, social media. Scoutbook got mentioned for a different reason. The beascout.org pin that we already talked about. And sometimes the best you can do is just a messaging platform. Okay? Social media, again, the geofence thing. Social media is awesome because it is already geofenced and you didn't have to spend anything on R&D to build a platform. Get on your local community page. Nearly every community has its own page. There's local yard sales sites, there's local parents associations, there's a plethora of Facebook groups in your area. And then post. Spam them.
No.
I'm not kidding. Spam them respectfully. They need to know you're still there. You want it to become ubiquitous that, oh yeah, I'm in Spanish Fork myself. Spanish Fork has a troop. I can't remember their number off the top of my head. I can't remember who keeps posting, but I know we have a troop. Little Jimmy is interested in doing something. I know we have a troop. It should never come as a surprise to people, oh, scouts are still going on, there's still a troop. Scout book, keep it up to date, because parents are going to always ask one thing, going, how do I find out the next activity? What's the next thing we're doing? Where do I find this information? You're not going to say, go to Facebook. Hopefully you don't say that. Go to Scout book. We already covered the pin, your very first tool, the one that is most vital to you. And finally, messaging platforms. I have no great advice for this one. Every single unit I've been a part of, from different troops to different wood badge courses to NYLT courses, everyone uses a different platform. Everyone says, I prefer to use this one, and every single one has the same amount of people who refuse to use it. Find what works best for your unit and use it. Make it consistent. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over here to Neil.
All right, great advice, great advice. We, according to the schedule, we only have 6 more minutes to cover all of social media. There's no way we're going to be able to do that. If you're willing to give a little bit of your lunchtime, we'll keep going and we'll dive into social media here, and I'll try and accelerate it as much as we can, but I want to be very realistic about that. So let's talk a little bit about social media. One of the first things that you want to do, and I'm trying to give you a step-by-step guide here, is you want to pick your platforms. This is something that's critical so that, again, you can make sure that the effort you're putting in here is going where you want it to go, that you're not trying to spread yourself too thin. There's some tricks there that you can do, but pick your platform, and we'll talk about that in a second. Number 2, just like Zoot said, I can't enforce this more, and that is you're really documenting your unit's activities. And if you want to make this a part of recruitment or projecting an image of your unit, then you're going to be able to add value by posting in those neighborhood Facebook groups, but you want to be selective about it. Post a lot, but make sure that when you do post, you're adding value by showing some really amazing things that your unit's doing. If you're involved in service, oh my word, that is the best thing you can possibly post about, right? Scouts doing what Scouts do, and that is they provide service. We're not talking about walking elderly women across the street. We're talking about all kinds of different forms of service, so do that. You want to create a publishing calendar. This goes back to having a plan and being prepared. You want to actually think out ahead rather than just being reactionary all the time, right? Think about there's a holiday coming up. Maybe you can do a really interesting post around that you can connect scouting to Valentine's Day by talking about the love that we have for our parents or the love that we have for our nation. There's just one idea, but there's a lot. So take advantage of creating a calendar. And 4, you want to engage your audience. It's not a one-way street with social media. It's 2 ways. Not only do you want to share images and messages on social media about your unit, but you want to make sure you respond to any kind of interaction or messages, that questions, comments, you want to respectfully respond to those while you're doing it.
If I might also step in, wow, that one's a lot louder than the one at the podium. If you want to jump back real fast, a good way to have a tasteful post on any platform that documents activities, that engages your audience and engages the community. What's going on right now for fundraising? Jerky sales. Jerky sales. Hey community, hey Salt Lake City, Troop such and such is doing jerky sales. We're going to be at this location. Make sure to stop by, say hi. You will get people who will come by just because they saw that the troop was going to be there. You're going to get people who are going to stop by going, oh yeah, no, I read those. It's not going to be such a shock.
But an interesting way to enhance that is talk about why. Why are you raising money? Because nobody wants to just be told, we want your money. What's it doing? Well, we're reinforcing the leadership and outdoor activities of our unit. We're going to this location this summer, and that's why we're raising money for jerky. Not just because we love selling jerky. Or we're doing this to be able to sponsor a new pack to give kids ages 8 to 11 a chance to participate, whatever it is. Make sure that there's a reason for that fundraising and then take advantage of that. So let's quickly talk about platforms. Lots of choices for social media, right? You want to focus. Again, you can do all of these and drive yourself crazy, or you can be very specific and targeted about what you want to do. Might I, in the interest of time, suggest that starting out, you pay attention to these 2 platforms. There are a lot of parents that are still on Facebook, okay? It is declining rapidly, with a younger generation of parents, but there's still some that are paying attention to this, and it's a very flexible platform. Instead, where a lot of parents are starting to spend their time is on Instagram. Now, the interesting thing is both of these platforms are owned by the same company. Okay? Now, that's good and bad. The good news is that when you post something, if you link your two accounts, if you want to do both, all you have to do is post on one and it can be on both. All right? So you get double your investment there. I would say that YouTube would only be good for long form or longer form content. So if you're just starting out, let's talk about those. TikTok is a big, big thing right now, but it is a fleeting, just a few seconds of interaction. You're not able to have a dialogue. It's just broadcast, and it's about entertaining people. That may not get you the audience that you're after. So just want to let you know. All right, quickly. How can you look like a social media pro? Well, I might offer a couple of options for that, because I want you to all be social media pros. Number one, there's an online platform called Canva. It's at canva.com. There are free and there are paid accounts. There are literally thousands of templates already there for social media. You can even say, I want something specific that will look great on Instagram. And it'll have the right sizing, because right now, where are most parents experiencing social media? Is it on their computer? Is it on their laptops? Where is it? On their phones. So that's where you want to pay attention to. What does a post look like on a phone? Tons of templates. Canva's great. I actually use that for Vanguard a bit to create posts. The other thing is that the BSA has a ton of marketing tools, logos, images, videos even. And if you get adventurous and want to start editing, or you want to adapt what the BSA has already put out there, awesome. And all you have to do is do a search for BSA marketing, and you'll be able to see that. Some great materials. And then number three, as I referred to before, learn from your scouts. Some of these scouts are really good, right? Now, some of their stuff might cause you to vomit when you look at their content, just because it's like stickers and animating and all this stuff. But the fact that they're used to doing this, you might just include them a little bit and learn from them. Don't be afraid. As we know in scouting, sometimes we learn from the scouts more than what we're trying to teach them. And so take advantage of that. Let me show you some examples of some of the things that we've done at Vanguard taking advantage of social media. Before I do that, how many of you follow the Vanguard Instagram account? Okay? All right, how many of you follow or are part of our Facebook group? Okay, we got some work to do here, people. We also publish on YouTube. Every single session of every Vision conference is on our YouTube channel, going back 3 years now. Guess where I'm going to publish this video from this conference?
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. Perfect alignment. Because we're going to do dances, everybody. I'm going to have you all do dances. So anyway, that's what we do. I would encourage you to follow our social media channels, because many times we're publishing stories about Latter-day Saint scouting that you might be able to use in your own, with your own units in your own communities. But let me show you a couple examples of things that we've done. One of the things I wanted to do was create a series of posts that showed that members of the church were still scouting. So we call these News from the Field. Okay, really simple stuff. Basically, a unit down in St. George sent me pictures of their court of honor. And I basically turned it into a post that tried to get people kind of excited about what was going on, to show that members of the church are still scouting. It's a myth that we have to sort of break through a little bit. And I realize the audience for our social media channels are already bought into it, but perhaps they can use this just to show or give them some ideas for what they might want to do. So let me shift over here. This is a little simpler idea. There's a gentleman that earned his Vanguard duty to God award. What a great achievement. Awesome. Okay, you know who this is? You know who he is. Somebody sent me the pictures of awarding him the Duty to God award, and we put this together. This was using Canva. It's animated. It's got music. It's a little more interesting than just a static picture. But if all you can do is a static picture, great. And here's an easy way to get a little more motion into your life.
Neil, about how long did it take you to make that? That last one, not the video.
It only took me about 7 minutes.
Okay, and
I would say somebody starting out, it may take you a little longer, but I've been doing it for a while. That's great.
And how deep is your education in graphic design and advertising? Deep.
But I'm fascinated by it, and you can do really well. There's so many sources for learning how to do it.
The answer I was going for there is he is not a paid graphic designer. Anyone can do this.
This is another great story about a young woman who earned her Life of Truth award, right? So the parents sent me pictures. We sent interview questions to this just fantastic young woman. And we turned this not only into social media, we had a blog post, like we repurposed the content over and over again.
It's not there anymore, though.
Yeah, sadly.
She's a star of life right now.
I'm going to skip this one. This is another example of what we're able to do with Father's Day. All right, so we talked about that brand center. If you want a quick link to it, there's a QR code on the screen. There's also the URL. So if you're watching this recording later, you got the link here. We're going to publish all of these slides for you, and they will be interactive, so you can click on any of the links when you download it. Guess who does all of that work? That's me. So I'm going to make sure all of these slides are on the website. You just look up this conference. The slides will come first. It will take me a while to edit all the footage that we're shooting today, but just know that those digital files will be on there. All right, we could move on. Get the link.
You might let people know that they'll need to create a login.
Actually, you don't.
You don't need the login anymore? Oh, okay.
It asks for it. And I'll leave it at that. We have a lot of resources, like I said, on our YouTube channel, tons of stuff. Did you like that video that we started the entire day off right after the prayer? Did that resonate with you? That's available on our YouTube channel for you to have. We also have, did you know that Vanguard actually has a song? And we have a musical video that goes along with that song that was written in a modern pop standard format.